Hi everybody, I'm back. So I'm back to paint my directed drawing of the Easter Bunny. Now this is what mine turned out to look like. And this is the one I was copying it from. So you can tell that even mine don't always look exactly how they're supposed to look. But I'm still happy with my picture. So I'm just going to show you a couple different ways to paint. So it's going to be a little bit of back and forth putting the picture underneath so that you can see what it is that I'm doing. Maybe I'll move these to start. I do have some of those acrylic paints. I got a couple colors and I have little cups of water to go with them. I also have this set of watercolor paints. I think it was made, I don't know, by Crayola. These again are my favorite because they're easy to clean up. This is the lid of it. The lid that belongs to that, and this is what you use to mix your colors, because I really, one of my big rules that I'm trying to emphasize with the kids is not to mix directly on the paints because it muddies the paint and changes your color. Then I'm also going to show you how to paint with the markers that were dyeing earlier, and there is a way to kind of make them look like paint rather than markers. So I'll start maybe with the acrylics. Now, painting with acrylic paint as it is kind of challenging because it's so thick and the thickness of it covers up the lines. So what I like to do, if all I have is acrylic, is I squirt some into a couple tablespoons of water. And the water helps lighten the color and the thickness of the paint so that it goes on to your paper a little easier and it's a little more forgiving. So I just stir it up. And you can see how it's much more watery. And it goes on kind of in a nice lighter way. I mean, if some kids want to use the acrylics as they are, that is perfectly okay. I just find that it goes over the lines of your picture so that you can't see the detail, and then you might have to go back and add a bit of detail. So the green's a little thick, so I'm going to add a little bit of water. They're nice Easter colors. So I'll show you how that looks. So I'm going to add a bit of yellow. So I dip in and you can see how it's watery and it's a bit runny, but you can see the nice part is that it doesn't cover up all of your picture that you've drawn. You can see through the lines. Can you see that? So the yellow is just not as thick. Stir it in a bit more. It can be runny, so just tap, tap. This is, we call this loading your brush, and we call this emptying your brush, just so it's not quite so thick. And they're pretty light colors. So this one, maybe I'll do inside of his ears. Whoops, a little oops there. That's okay. So if I have an oops there, I'm going to put an oops there just to make it look even. So kids often worry about stuff like this. Oh, Mrs. Opera, I made a mistake. I need a new one. And I'm like, no, sorry, no new ones. Like, this is a beautiful piece of work. You have an oops, just turn it into something. And we've read the story called The Beautiful Oops, which I'm trying to get so I can read to you. But look it up, The Beautiful Oops on YouTube, so you can get the idea of where mistakes, and that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to put my mistake on all of his whiskers, and it just kind of makes them jump out now. So our oops that started over here isn't an oops anymore. It's part of my art. And you just have to be flexible, and kids are learning to be flexible with their art, and some kids are more able to see how you can turn it into something else than others, and you just keep encouraging. So here you can see how the lighter, the acrylic mixed with water is really pretty, but it's not covering up your entire picture that you've drawn. And that's important when you put all that work into the drawing. You don't want it to disappear when you paint it. And kids love to paint. They really do. And so I try to give them that opportunity as much as I can. So from there, I'm going to show you the markers, or the felts, as I continue to call them in my old mind. These are the ones that in the earlier video that I just posted were dry, and so you can give them a bit more life by sitting them and letting them soak in water. Today, I'm going to turn them into actually more of a watercolor paint just by dipping Okay, and so it is a bit wet. It can get a bit messy. I might have some oopses, but then you can see how when I don't dry it, look how thick, and it's kind of runny. If you look, and it's cool how I love the color. I love it when you mix color with it. See, it's more like a paint now. And it's a little bit runnier. Oh, see, it ran into the top of my Easter egg, so I'm just going to keep working with that one. So it is a little runnier. You can tell there's water pooling a little bit. So another reminder to kids is not to keep painting over and over. It will make your paper start to pill and break. If you want to dry off that little bit of liquid, you can just sit a paper towel on it gently. You can see there's picking up the water, and then it's not so runny. There's your paper towel. So markers are really fun to work with as paintbrushes. Let's see, is this one? So you can see how there's a little bubbles of water, and that's okay if they run a little bit. You can always change it later. I'll just put my finger in it there, and here we got some more, and so you can tell it's spreading much quicker than it normally would as a felt pen or a marker. It's actually spreading like a liquid paintbrush. And if your pen is too full of water, like it's way too runny, like this one's quite runny here, you can just dab it on a piece of paper towel. But I just love how it creates a whole different kind of marker ink, and it doesn't look anything like it would if I were just literally coloring this piece of work. Let's try one more marker, a bit of a different color. So I love colors mixing. So when you dip it in, it's just fun to watch to see how it moves and mixes with the blue already. A lot of pink in that one. So it might be a little bit wet, so I'm going to just tap, tap. And then let's see what it does on here. Oh, it's a nice color. Some more over here. And you can see how markers become much less work when they're wet. And how these pens were like, remember how dry they were? I don't even know where that piece of paper is, but they were so dry that you really couldn't get a full dark color with them. But now with water, they're like paintbrushes. So exciting. And you can do it with markers that aren't dead, but it's just a nice way to revive the dead marker that isn't giving you much color. The other set of paints is this one. This one fell out somewhere. I don't know where it is, somewhere around the house, but that's okay. So this is more of a traditional way of painting. And you still need water. Whoopsie. Grab myself a paintbrush. And I have a big, this is, you can tell I painted with this jar lots and lots. If you want to mix colors, so I've taught kids how to mix colors, so I just have to put it into the water. And I load my brush over here, and then I put it on here. And it takes a little bit of repeating. So I've got red, lots of red. I could even use some of that red, so let's put some on here while my brush is loaded. Looks like I got a dog hair. We have 2 dogs. We have dog hair everywhere. There we go. I'm going to clean my brush. So it's important to clean my brush because I'm going to mix with that. I might dab a bit of water in there. Clean my brush. And let's add some blue. It's kind of more turquoisey, but that's okay. There, so you can see kids love to mix colors. So red and blue turn it into, what is it, everybody? Purple, that's right. So your brush is going to be quite loaded. Let's see what it looks like. A bit of a darker purple. It's not as vibrant as the markers, but it's still pretty. And it's a bit light, so what that means is that you just need a bit more paint on your brush. I just should have cleaned that first. So don't put quite as much water on your brush. And mix it in. And that will make your purple, well, changes it actually because I have more blue in there now. But you can see it's a bit more of a darker color. I'll do half purple and half that blue. And you can see that watercolor colors aren't perfect, right? You see lights, depths, within the color. It's not all one sheer color. An acrylic, if you just painted all with this, would give you the same color all the way. But a watercolor, something that has more water in it, kind of shows ebbs and flows. It looks like it's a little bit lighter here and a little bit darker there, so it's kind of like creating dimension and shadows. So this is painting. And I love to paint. I'm just going to use orange now. Give that little bow tie some orange. And from there, you can just continue to paint, which is what I'm going to do. I'll post a picture of my finished painting when it's done. See, in here, I'm not too worried about the lines. Perfection isn't really my goal. It's just spreading color and seeing what happens. So now as I spread the color a bit further down, it gets dark to lighter, and here it gets a bit of that bluey purple mixed into it. So I can't wait for you to be able to do, oops, I just spilt my paint, your Easter Bunny directed drawing and painting. If you want to share it with me, you can certainly do that. You can send it to your teacher and they'll share it with me. But also you should have got an email from me in my email that sent you the Buster Bulldog video, and also the YouTube video of all the teachers singing was sent from my email. Anyways, thank you for listening. I'm not quite sure, but find my email somewhere and you can send it to me. I'm going to finish mine off. Can't wait to see yours. See you later, alligators. Let's get those Easter bunnies done.